Mindfulness is about controlling your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. Don't worry about what you cannot control, because other things you cannot control. You can control your thoughts, emotions, and actions, but you can't control the outside things. So you have to become resilient to stand the outside things. And how you become resilient is basically to release the traumas so you won't get triggered anymore. Then you just respond instead of reacting. And that's when you are in peace. And that's when you can build the life you want, create happiness in your life.
Hey guys, it is Alison. I am the host of your show, Alison Answers Mission Awake. I cannot wait to sit down with you today and go over how we are going to crush the mediocrity in your life that has been plaguing our society since the beginning of time. I cannot wait to have a real deal conversation that includes intelligence, fun, excitement, and real actionable steps to make a real difference in the life that you're living now and making it into something you can be damn proud of and excited to live. Sit down, put on your damn seatbelt, and get ready for the ride of your life. Hey guys, how are you today? I have a great guest on. I'm really looking forward to knowing her and experiencing all her wealth of knowledge. Her name is Edith B. Kiss. And I'm going to read to you because there's a lot and I want to make sure I don't butcher it. So I'm going to read to you a bit about who she is. Edith B. Kiss is a holistic mentor, success habit coach, #1 best-selling author, humanitarian award winner, and international speaker. She helps her clients to get healed from running mind, insomnia, to gain more focus and fill the void in their hearts by raising their frequency and getting them aligned with their true self so they can stand the storms and live their life joyfully and reinvent themselves to the next level. I sure could use that. She worked with clients on releasing long-lasting pains, blockages, ancestral defects, and emotional traumas so they could live fulfilled and joyful lives. She has clients from all over the world, including the United States, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, Hungary, Nigeria, and these range from millionaire traders to influencers to artists. She was the subject of a 1-hour interview with Deborah Funmi Mupapa's Life Assurance podcast, in which she discussed life, marriage, and soul. She was also featured on The Edge with April Mahoney podcast, and there is a wide range of different things that she's been a guest on that I won't share all of it with you. Edith originally was a petroleum engineer working in the petroleum industry for 15 years, go figure, before healing full-time. During those years, she trained to become a Reiki master, a Sekhem healer, and a karma yogi practitioner under the teaching of karma guru Samant Kaul. She strengthened her extra senses and worked on several family constellation therapies. She's learned life coaching, and there is just a gazillion things. She was trained by Bob Proctor, who I love, who is known for his appearance as the featured expert in The Secret. While living in New Zealand, she was a member of the Reiki NZ Incorporated. So without any further ado, I'm very happy to have Edith B. Kiss on our show, and so we can learn and grow with her. Thank you so much. Hey guys, how are you today? It is Alison from Alison Answers and Lager Counseling Services. As I mentioned earlier, I have Edith B. Kiss on as a super special guest. And I'm so excited because so much of what she has to offer, I want, actually. So I'm selfishly, this is all about me today. So I'm going to learn so much about this wonderful woman. So, and I just asked her off camera if her name was like a stage name, Edith B. Kiss. And it's not. It's a Hungarian name, like Edith, right? Did I say that right? Like, kind of like, yeah. And that Kiss is like the word small, which I think is so cute. And B Kiss is about the area that she moved from, which is so cute. I just love the whole thing. So it's such a pleasure to meet you and get to talk to you off, record. And I would love for you to share some of like what your mission is and what you're doing, because I just love it. It's really good for people. So welcome.
Thank you so much, Alison, for having me. I'm really excited about today and sharing this space with you here. So my mission is actually to bring the awareness to people that they need to heal their traumas, even though they don't remember them. So many people, when I talk about trauma healing, they are like, oh, I had a decent childhood. I haven't had any traumatic experience, which I can recall, And but then I'm asking them, do you get triggered during the day? Do you feel betrayed or sad or angry or certain negative emotions as a reaction for other people's action, or maybe for something else, or maybe your own thoughts triggering you? And then they say, yeah, of course, I'm a human. I got, all kinds of negative emotions. But I'm telling them that, yeah, that doesn't mean you always have to feel that. I mean, you need to experience that. You can be in a peaceful and a calm and positive emotional state if you don't attract triggers, and it can be stopped attracting triggers when you release the traumas, which I related to the triggers. And then when I start to work with clients, I realize that the trauma which caused them even panic attacks at year 20, or I mean the age 20, or if they may be having depression or all kind of fears in their young adulthood, the trauma was so innocent. It was just spending time with grandparents and couldn't go out to the sun to play because she had to stay inside because they were watching TV. That was the trauma.
Yeah.
And that was what kept them limited, unsupported, felt all kinds of lonely, but they were next to her, but still the child get this as a trauma. Or for example, another trauma was at 2 years old, wanted the attention of the mother who was washing dishes in the kitchen. And then the baby was maybe crying or wanted some attention. And the mother was, okay, I need to finish up washing dishes. And then the child felt abandonment and all kinds of negative emotions, because of that. That was the trauma. But you don't remember when you had that at 2 years old. But that can hit you back now when you are 30. And for example, your boyfriend leaves you, or maybe he doesn't call you for a while. You get that abandonment again, that coming back to you, but you don't know why. You just feel betrayed, you feel sad, you feel unsupported, you feel unloved, all kinds of emotions. But there is a way to find what trauma is connected to these triggers, actually.
I have to tell you, I love what you're saying right now. And I don't want to step on what you're talking about. I want you to continue to talk, but I just want to interject one little thing. As a therapist and just running counseling centers, and I don't see clients anymore, but a common theme that I tell other therapists is that so many times people come in and they're like, I had a great childhood. I had a great mom. So, and it could be that it's, great traditionally the way it looks. But what I'm always telling them is like from like 0 to 7 years old, we're being programmed. We're in this like hypnotic state, like that theta brainwave. And like, it's so weird how 2 plus 2 could equal 496 for a child. And you know what came to me? And who knows, maybe you're calling this out of me. I haven't thought of this forever. Okay. I'm just going to tell you. I remember I was in Montessori school. And I was little. I was like 2.5 years old. And I remember sitting there and there was like 30, seemed like tons, a sea of children. And they one by one called the kids to get up and go play and do whatever they were doing. And they went and they called every single solitary child and they forgot me. I'm actually going to cry. So it must have an impact on me. They forgot me. And I was such a compliant child that I sat there obviously it felt like the whole day to me, but I don't ever remember anybody coming to get me. Isn't that weird? So that when you were talking, now, obviously no one did anything to me. I was in a school, I was fine, but I wasn't fine because I still remember it and I still have issues clearly. So yeah. And you know what else I thought of when you were saying it, which I'm sure you'll get into, is that how often we feel crazy. We'll have this feeling that feels bigger than the situation merits. We'll ask our friends, am I crazy? Like, would you feel this way? Like, what's wrong with me? Right? And it's tapping into something much younger, right? So tell us how you help. Like what techniques do you use?
Yeah, so basically the technique I use is called source memory healing. And when I talk to hypnotherapists, they say, oh, we have similar one, it's called timeline therapy. So if someone who's familiar with hypnotherapy might knows about timeline therapy. So this is actually source memory healing I learned from my karma guru from Kashmir. They said it's 60,000 years old technique. And then basically you do first a samadhi meditation, a meditation which transcends you into the unconscious mind. You need to activate the pineal gland for that, actually, to able to transcend to the unconscious. And then you can actually tell to your unconscious that, okay, this is my issue right now. This is how I feel right now. It could be a physical pain. Might you have a knee issue? Might you have maybe headaches, migraine, or might you have mentally issues like anxiety, stress, or maybe you are in grief, you lost someone. So you address your issue and then you start saying, okay, how am I feeling about this? Let's collect the negative emotions. Okay, I feel betrayed, I feel sad, I feel angry. You come up with all of these emotions because you remember the last time you felt it. So I always ask, when was the last time? Maybe it's now, but maybe it was last week, So it's again collecting these negative emotions. And then I also ask them, okay, where do you feel it in your body? So then they start to say, okay, it's in my shoulder or on my chest, and so on and so forth. And then we can ask the unconscious mind that now that it knows what it is and how is it make the body feels and everything, then to collect the memories which are related to this issue. And then I tell like, okay, now that you collected, we use also muscle test, like yes and no signs to say yes and to communicate with the unconscious mind basically and say, okay, give me a yes sign when you're done, when you collected all the memories. So then I get the yes sign, then okay, then the client get a yes sign and tell them, okay, then you ask the unconscious mind to show you the first memory. They are with closed eyes basically. So they suddenly see a memory. And I always tell them that you don't need to look for it. You just allow it to come into your mind and you allow it to just arrive and then you just dive into it. And then you see what is happening there with you, who you are with, what age you have there. And then that again, start feeling the emotions. It's not that some people are afraid to go in there, but I wouldn't say it's the same deep as when it might happen at the first time. I would say it is like watching a movie kind of thing. You would cry on a movie as well, basically. So I tell them, okay, you need to experience it and collect the emotions. And then they're gonna collect the emotions from that. Again, they're gonna say, okay, this memory makes me feel this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. And then when I have all of those emotions, I say a certain release, a prayer, which needs to be on a very structured way because we are multidimensional beings. So I need to clear it from different layers because with the DNA, we connect with our ancestors, we connect with our partners. So I need to clear from different layers these emotions. And when I'm done with the clearing, then I invoke some light. I tell them to experience that is actually those emotions are replaced with love, forgiveness, safety, and support, which is coming from the universe and, as a light filling them up. And then when they go back to the memory, basically, I tell them, okay, you are in a column of light now, you are safe. And I know I'm asking you if you can forgive to yourself or you can, and then I'm asking them, you can forgive to the other person. And that's when most of them say yes after the whole release process because it's energetically was changing the things. But some of them is still stick to it and say, no, I can't because they still see the vision. Many times they go through abuse or something, very deep. And then they say, no, I can't. And then that's the thing when I start to explain them. That's the time when I start to explain them that only like couple of percentage of the time they are in their conscious mind when they do something to you. So they are also many times controlled by their subconscious or their beliefs or their ancestral patterns or their karma or whatever. There is so many things which made that person to behave how they behaved or treated you the way how they treated. It could be also your karma to experience that thing. So basically, I kind of tell them that is how it happened or what it happened, you still need to forgive, to let it go, because that's the best for yourself, for your healing and everything. So basically, after they forgive, then we can actually close this process down by even asking the Supreme Pure Consciousness for a solution, for a learning. So they actually download a word or a sentence as a message from the other side, which is like completing the process for them. And we invite the next memory. So some situations requires 2 memory to clear or 1 memory to clear, but sometimes we are there for 6 memories, 7 memories. So sometimes the client says to me after 6 memory that, oh, I'm tired, let's finish it now here. 6 memory was enough, that also happens. And I also, the clients who signing up with me, I do a couple of sessions with them, to see how is it going, but then I give them a track, so it's recorded, and they can actually do the whole process through the track themselves. And then I encourage them to do that, because healing is a journey. You have so many traumas you can't even imagine, because you have so many triggers, right?
Yes.
So whenever you got triggered, you just take my recorded track, and then you do the healing.
Can I just ask you, what's track? I don't know what that is.
Track is like music track, like
like a track of like music.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like a recorded. I'm calling it like a clip or a video, whatever it is. Like
a recorded media. Yeah, it's a recorded.
I just wanted to make sure I knew what. I thought it was something I never heard of, but okay,
no, it's like an MP3 or MP.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
So basically, it's a recorded thing, and then they can actually go with that recording to release the coming up triggers, whatever they experience.
Yeah.
And I started this journey 6 years ago. And at the beginning, I was doing it pretty often because I got triggered often. And I had all kinds of physical illnesses I wanted to stop. So that's what I was always using this. And then as the time passed by, no, I'm sometimes for a couple of months I don't even do it, because I'm fine. I don't have triggers. I'm feeling good. So sometimes I have a couple of months I don't even need to do it. But sometimes I get triggered because I'm in a brand new situation or with a brand new person, which is bringing up some more things, and then I have to do it, because the funny thing happened recently that I met with an amazing person, and I was thinking like, I got triggered during this relationship. And then I was like, oh my God, if it would be a different person, I would just step through and gone, Yes. But this person was so amazing that I was like, I need to do the inner work to stay, because he triggered me, but it was me who take it seriously, who take it deep. Otherwise, it was innocent thing from him. He didn't want to hurt me at all. So I was like, okay, I need to do the work right now, right here, because I want to stay with him. So then I was doing the healing process, so on and so forth, and then I was fine. So that's what I'm saying, that it's always, so when someone is causing issue to us, it's always us, not them, who needs to be fixed, basically.
Okay, so listen, girl, now we're talking. Okay, so this is so good. So let me just ask you this. I have 2 questions. I don't want to forget. My first one is about karma, so I don't want to forget that. So I want to go back to that. But this thing that you're describing, where you met this amazing person, right? So this trigger that doesn't really happen anymore, now it's ignited with this particular person because he matters a lot, is what I'm understanding, right? So I think that any person who's listening, I know that a lot of people who are like dating are listening here. So like, and how we see it all the time, just in counseling, there's how much triggers occur for people when they just meet someone, insecurities, things that arise. So let's say they feel super confident, and then a particular person, we could just use an example. I had this person, a client who totally confident. And then what ended up happening, she met a guy who was like super good looking or whatever. And she ended up feeling so insecure. He wasn't doing anything that was indicating that, but she became something else. So I'm thinking, is that along the lines of what you're talking about? Because often people will also, I'm sorry, I say one more thing. The other thing is that we're always like constantly trying to help people understand that the first work is always inside. Every thought, feeling, everything is our own. And but most of the world is living with this external locus of control, which is basically ruining their lives, blaming people, places, and things for what they're feeling. So I love this talk, and I would love to know, Is that what you meant? Like the little
Yeah.
example I gave?
Yeah, it's similar. I also want to add this here that
Yeah.
some people say like we are our worst enemy. We are our worst enemy because we suppose, I mean, mindfulness is about controlling your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. And then don't worry about what you cannot control because other things you cannot control. You can control your thoughts, emotions, and actions, but you can't control the outside things. So you have to become resilient to stand the outside things. And how you become resilient is basically to release the traumas so you won't get triggered anymore. Then you just respond instead of reacting. And that's when you are in peace. And that's when you can build the life you want, create happiness and health, in your life. About the relationship you said. So basically, yes, you can, of course, is can change you if you are in a relationship, and then it can, but let's see like how that, okay, the lady started to feel insecure, so that's already a negative emotion and other negative emotions. So basically, if she wants to go back to feel great, then yes, she needs to tune into why I am feeling insecure now. So she needs to like call upon the unconscious mind and then see the memories, like where is it coming from? So might he had a strong male in her life who did this or that or talked to her or whatever, and then she maybe got some I don't know, some kind of situation in that. And then that's what was a traumatic for her. And she has to release that before she can actually behave no authentically or normally with the new person. But yes, this is happening so often that, and I was wondering like, why now is the time when I'm actually healing out those old traumas with this guy, and why I haven't took the time with others. And basically because the others haven't showed so much positive aspects like him. They did not verse my work as well, so the others were like not the best partner or not, because they lacked other things as well. Basically, they were lacking in other areas, but because this guy had everything was great, only the trigger was which made me cry or feeling miserable, but it wasn't him. So it was me reacting to that thing like an elephant, and then I knew, okay, that's the point when I need to work on myself. It wasn't him, it's me. So yeah, so it's basically just, of course, you need to see that person is worthy of your time, is worthy of being together with that person. It doesn't mean like after someone hurts you or you go through a trauma or you forgive, then you need to still stay with that person who hurt you or so on and so forth because you forgive. Forgiveness doesn't mean you need to continue that relationship. It means, okay, you forgive and then you are in peace, but that doesn't mean you trust that person anymore or so on and so forth. And but yeah, many times the current relationship can be ruined because of old traumas. Like, for example, even without causing any mental or how can I say communication issues, but maybe physical issues in the person. For example, you had traumas and now you are in a very happy relationship with your partner, but you are experiencing physical pains in your abdominal area. That's like the sacral chakra area. So if you have like issues in the abdominal area, for example, digestive issues, intestines, or womb for the woman, so on and so forth, if you have illnesses, that it means you have an old trauma to release. And it's gonna still stay there, even you are happy now in your relationship, because it wasn't the current relationship which caused that, but it's still there and you don't want to be sick or you don't want to be worse or whatever. So it's better to, okay, now do something about it. So it's a physical pain. Also, people need to understand that physical illness is also a sign of trauma, but needs to be released so it's not getting worse. So basically, how can I say, it's a precaution, or so you can prevent diseases with trauma release. That's what I wanted to say, like getting into high blood pressure, cancer, all of these things can be prevented by releasing traumas.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And, my question also, like, let's say in relationship to what you're saying, some people will say, oh, you know what, like if we even use the example of that woman or even what you're describing, someone even who's in tune might be saying, you know what, this person doesn't align with me because I don't feel great. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a common thing. Like, I'm not feeling great. Instead of seeing it as a trauma, I don't mean physically feeling great, but like oh, it's in my gut. Something doesn't feel right. It's like, how do they know between their gut and like a trigger? I think people would want to know the answer to that.
Yeah, so it needs to be looked at from more aspect. Like is that trigger is just one specific area what they experience, but all the rest is going great. All the other situation is amazing, and just that trigger which occurred, then it's a trigger. The good feeling is like more like the whole thing, like it's might some things are like nice, but the whole thing is not clicking, like for example different values or different lifestyle or different diet or different, many things can be different, and then if there is so many which is different and you don't feel comfortable with it, then obviously is a no-go, because you can't put the whole thing together. But if everything looks nice and then just one thing ticked you, then you shouldn't run away. You should hear that from yourself and then stick around, and then see how it goes. Because if all the other things are great,
Right, right. That's beautiful. So in regard to what I wanted to ask before is about karma. I think that there's a lot of confusion about it. So when people have different definitions or what they believe it is. So I wonder, when you're saying, like, if someone does something, or let's say something occurs in your life, that's seemingly outside of anything you've done, it's like somebody else, or you've experienced like a really bad experience. I have. How, like, it may be that person's, karma, or it's your karma. How do you distinguish that, in terms of, I mean, I've had, like, I mean, I don't know if I should say all this on here, but basically I've seen people have one major tragedy happen in their life. And then many, many years later, like I had a person who had a boyfriend die of a particular type of an illness. Then she got married all these years later, has children, probably 30, 40 years later, and her husband dies of the same illness. Like,
wow.
like that, to me, and I've had something similar in my own life too, a similar type of thing, but not with illness. So I just wonder, what that, like, it's something to have to work through, or it just is so fascinating to me. Not in a
Yeah,
good way, though, obviously.
yeah, it could be different reasons. So as I was saying about this multidimensional existence, and we have different layers. I believe in past lives as well, and then also ancestral patterns and ancestral karmas. So these situations can be coming from ancestral karma, which means that they had some sins which we carry in our life. Or if it's our karma, it could be like in past life we've done something, or we made someone to experience something, and then this lifetime we pay for it. But what you said, it was really interesting. I feel like about that it could be more as a curse, or more as a vows or oaths what the person said maybe in past lives, or as a curse. So might something happened maybe in past life, and then she was saying that if I ever get married, then that person would die because blah blah blah, and that's even sometimes stopping people to marry in this lifetime, because they said something in past life. I'm never gonna get married because I'm scared that my husband would be killed, because it was maybe killed in that lifetime by his father. And then that's because it was actually a situation when there was a client who had no relationships, and then it's turned out from a past life regression that she had a past life when her father killed the boyfriend or the husband because didn't like it. So she made a vows about it, that okay, I'm never gonna get married because then I bring my husband into danger. So that could be cleared through past life regression.
Wow.
And then the karmic healing is more for, you can release karmas, or you can heal karmas through the meditation, and through there is some certain ways to release it, because there is like 11 karma points what we can release, like the anger and harsh words and killing, that's one. Then the lying if you say lies, and then there is the competition, jealousy, bad companionship. That's also one karma. And then there is one, for example,
if you feel jealousy and competition, you mean, is that what you mean? Or if you lie, or if you are violent or whatever, that kind of stuff, like how you're acting. Okay.
Yes. And then basically, what is happening that when you are paying for your karma, or when are you getting it, is different to everyone. Because if you are not that spiritual, which means you're not reaching to the other dimensions often, you are just in 3D, then most of the time you receive your karma next life, not in this one. So that's why you see
you're
sometimes
not aware,
people,
right?
yes, and then sometimes you see getting some people getting away with their bad behavior, so on and so forth, because they pay for it next life. But when you are very spiritual, and then you get into the spiritual journey, you meditate a lot, you do energy healing, you connect to the divine spirit guides, angels, and you still make one of these karma, you still do it accidentally, then it comes back to you very fast. It's instant karma. So for spiritual people, they need to be more careful, because it's instant karma they experience it this lifetime. But it's a good news, because if you do good things, if you do good things, that's also instant karma. So if you start doing good things as a spiritual person, you actually receiving instant karma in this lifetime. You don't need to wait for the next lifetime to feel great or to have happy life or whatever. The spirit guides and the other side start to reward you this lifetime, So that's why I'm saying it's a good thing.
Yeah, I love that. So like, when you were mentioning the pineal gland meditation, I've done that with Dr. Joe, and an experience that I had that was just incredible. I've had many, but it was totally like supernatural and like seeing all different things or whatever. But then when I left and came home and went on the airplane, I was at the airport, and everything that would have felt aggravating or difficult, it was packed, like it was just nothing could touch me. All I felt was love. Nothing mattered. I didn't care if I missed my plane. Nothing mattered at all. And what I found fascinating about that, I was in this kind of bliss, and it was just lasting, and I was just living in it. Nothing had power at all on this planet over me. And then, it was fascinating to me. Then I went home, and I had the next day probably one of the biggest traumas of my life, because my husband died by suicide the next day. Yes. And so my whole world just, obviously, I have 4 kids, like the whole thing, I was, obviously devastated. So I've always wondered, like, was God preparing me, for something that was going to be too much for me, obviously. I learned something about bliss and about not being, but I always wondered, like, and I never know when I talk about this if I'm going to cry. I'm glad I didn't. But, you don't have to have the answer to it, but I'm just always curious about that, what your thoughts are on that. And,
Yes. Yeah, so probably you felt the bliss and the being so resilient is because you connected with the universe. You felt like that oneness, you surrendered to it, and then you felt the oneness, the limitlessness, and then it made you resilient. So why you attracted next day that terrible situation? That's your question, right? That how is happened that you went so close to God, and then it's tested you so badly. So basically, I can imagine, as you said, it's prepared you something. So there is two hypotheses here. So the first one is, when you go really high in vibration, the universe, or I would say the Earth's consciousness, is hammering you back to the mode. because you peak out because of your high vibration.
I got
So
that.
that's why many celebrities also losing, life partners or having some illnesses, and like A-listers, A-list celebrities and or A-list athletes going to cancer and so because they are raising so high their vibration, they are getting out of the mode of the consciousness, and they hammered back. So that was a way of you were rising really fast in that retreat, I believe, in consciousness. And then the earth consciousness is much more lower, and this just pulled you back. And this was the way to pull you back to feel negative emotions and, keeping you on a lower vibration.
Yeah.
So it's many times happening, and this is why they say you need to protect yourself. I'm not sure if Joe Dispenza taught any protection, like energy protection, because as we raise our vibration, we need to learn how to protect our energy and how to actually stay there without receiving any negative effects. And there are like different methods for this. I teach my students also for this energy protections, because this can be done by entities. This can be done just energies, that they want to like balance it out, that you went too far, or you went too high. So it's actually happening to people who's suddenly raising their vibration. They getting into very good levels, and then they are hammered back basically.
Wow. Yeah. That's interesting. It's like the homeostasis, because I'm always teaching people that about, just even our emotions. When we leave, we become chemically addicted to the emotions we feel the most, just biologically. And then our body's homeostasis wants to bring us back, to baseline,
Yeah.
which is like that negative emotion, which is interesting. And then I see it in families too, so it's like, and then I guess the collective consciousness is just that larger thing that, it's like the rebound effect. It was like you coming, is that what it is?
Yes.
I find it it's not, it doesn't make me happy because of what we're talking about, but it's interesting because it's individually, and then family, and then community,
Yeah.
and then earth, right? Wow.
Yes. We are so
Fascinating.
connected. We are so
Yeah.
connected.
So
Yeah.
how do we so now when I hear this, right? So I'm always wanting to, I think there's so many things that will pull us back, like to, just core beliefs, or, all these things that pull us back to that place we just don't want to be. I mean, I find it happens to me basically regularly. Like, I feel like sometimes it's like, I'm like, oh my God, it's a daily reprieve where I'm pulling myself back to, what I've chosen to be, setting my intention, feeling what I want to feel, all of that, and meditating and all of that. But it's like, how does someone, I don't know, do I want to say protect, or is it like better to do it gradually? Not,
You talked about this theta phase and the belief systems and the subconscious, actually how it's like the beliefs there. So it still can be that that's what is happening, that you have limiting beliefs, and that's why you still coming back to the starting
for
point,
sure.
because you have caps. You still have caps. You don't go above, or you can't overcome. So that's one thing. But is you need to start doing affirmations, like powerful affirmations on a daily basis. So
Yeah.
that's one thing, that like you actually seeing yourself as you want to be, and you calling yourself as you want to be, and you just have that conversation that yes, I am there, I am that, and I believe in myself, and so on and so forth.
It
So that's,
actually works.
yeah, yes.
Magical, right?
Yeah, so
Sorry,
that's
I
the
interrupted.
affirmations. So basically, there is a pack of affirmations you can say about yourself to empowering yourself, but there is another affirmation which is opening up yourself to the universe oneness, like the connection. Like, okay, if I am one with the universe, then I am limitless. Or if I trust the universe, I believe it provides me with everything I need, or more than I need. So there are also this is next level, when you are assuring yourself, okay, I'm not gonna worry, I'm not gonna I won't have fears, because I know I'm backed up, I know I am one, I'm limitless. So this is like a much stronger way of doing it, but it's actually is helping you more taking off those limits
Yeah.
from your agenda. And
So if
then
you take those limits off, may I ask you, if you take those limits off is that similar to what we're talking about with like, so let's say I take those limits off, does then the planet want to pull me back with tragedy? Or,
I mean,
you know,
so yes, then comes the protection, and then comes the cooperation with your angels, spirit guides, so on and so forth. Because when you're opening up to receive these bigger blessings or these bigger things, basically you are backed up by them as well. So they are there for you, they protect you, they guiding you, and then of course you need to through the path what they are directing you to go through. So if your vision or your goals are not aligned with your, I would say your goals are not aligned with the vision, what they channeling to you, then they're not gonna support you the same way. But if you are aligned with the vision you coming in, and you actually want to elevate yourself through that vision, then you got more support and protection from the other side with that. So.
Mm-hmm. And okay, so this is my last question because I want to honor your time. But how does a person know when their goals, the thing driving inside of them is aligned with their vision, is aligned with, what ultimately their path is supposed to be? Hard question,
I
huh?
wouldn't say ultimately their past, because there is more purpose, there is more past during one lifetime. So when I started my engineering career, I felt passionate about it, and that was my past for a couple of years, But then when it changed, it was a very powerful, encouraging feeling. And then also, as I said, it was coming like breadcrumbs from the universe, and then all of those visions, and just felt like I need to do that, and it's like drove me towards that direction. And then how you feel, if it's intuitive or you just set certain goals, is basically when it's intuitive, is really encouraging, is from passion, is you see it through, you believe in it. That's a vision, that's your path, you need to follow up on. But how long it's gonna take, like how many years you spend on that passion, you never know, because then might you have another one, so
Yeah.
you can have several purpose and passion in one lifetime. And then basically how you know what is like just setting goals, it's more mundane, is more just analytical, mind created goals maybe. And then you're going to find out sooner or that did not work, or it's going to be a failure, because you're going to be directed back basically from that direction sooner or later. And then you're going to direct back to the way where you're supposed to go through your vision. So and then also people say like, okay, how do I know that what I'm thinking of is actually intuition is coming from my heart, or my soul is an intuition, or is like from my mind? Is basically the positive ones, the encouraging ones, those are from like intuition. And then when you are fearful about something, when is like want to stop you or hold you back, those are the thoughts which are mostly from your ego and from your mind. So I would always say to people, be a yes man, and then whatever you feel you want to do, just do it, because this life is about experiences. And then of course failure is also part of it, and the challenge is also part of it, and then you learning from everything. So I lived my whole life like this, like through experiences and being a yes man all the time. And then that's how I created so much amazing adventures for myself, and then travels and all of those things, and then connections. So I highly recommend that to people, if they feel calling to that actually do that, to have more experiences.
I love that. It's like life is an adventure, if you let it be. And the harder times don't have to be perceived as that, like as these bad things. It's like just part of like these, like a movie, like these challenges that we're going through. And it's like a big story, right?
Yes.
Yeah, which is, a fun thing. I am so there's so many questions I have that I almost feel like I want to have you come on another time if you ever would consider it, because I just think you are delightful, and it's lovely to hear the way that you think and your insight. So do you have any I want to showcase and talk about this great program that you have, the Elevate program. It's a 12-month program. and that Edit has, and I would love for her to share about it. And also any way that people could get in touch with you or where they can find you, if you could share that as well. And any like last thoughts that you feel are important that you want, you know, anyone to hear. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So basically, people can find me on my website, which is my name. So it's edithbeekis.com, or I have Instagram, and then I have also LinkedIn and Facebook. This everybody's Edith Beekis. And I also have a YouTube channel which called Magical Karma Priestess. And then I upload daily, and I have meditations there as well, the Samadhi meditation. Even I have a pyramid manifestation meditation there, an anger karma healing meditation. And also I upload daily about karma, ancestral healing, and mindfulness and trauma. So my Elevate program is actually came into me because of this trauma healing, but not the trauma healing, but I realized that how you can actually create an amazing life for yourself is there are like certain steps. And then the first step is that you want to change. So you first, okay, I want to change my life. I don't want it to be as it is. So make that conscious decision. And then you go through the subconscious reprogramming, the beliefs, the habits, and then you change then you get rid of the fears. And then goes the trauma healing, which needs to be done. So you get off the emotional roller coaster, and then you connect with the superconscious. So, and when you get aligned with the superconscious, is like you're working with those energies. So these steps are, I believe, is necessary to actually take the right actions after, to make sure that you're taking the right actions to create your life. And in the Elevate, I also have coaching calls where I help with clients with these steps. And then besides that, we do the healing processes, which is we healing family unconscious karma, we healing ancestral defect, we healing other personal karmas, and we healing traumas as well in a group setting. Through meditations. And then there are specific steps I learned from my karma guru, which we go through, and it's very powerful healings. I've done this program since last year. I done twice this program in last year because it's used to be an 8 weeks program, but now I decided to make it 12 months because the demand and because of the clients asked that they want to stay longer in this vortex, energy vortex. And then basically it's very deep clearings, very deep healings. And then if you actually enroll in this group coaching, you also get the meditation library access 24/7, because I encourage everyone to meditate daily. And then also I have video materials that's also included in this package.
Oh, that's awesome. So they would find you where you just said, and they could find that program there. We'll also have this program in the show notes, and we'll have all of it listed there if anybody wants to be in touch with you. I have a last question because I just think I'm dying to know the answer to this. So I had an experience where was fascinating to me. I've lived a long life. I've had a lot of really weird experiences, a lot of supernatural experiences, but I had an experience that I just want to run past you really fast. Do you have a minute?
Yeah, sure.
It's actually, I'll just sum it right up. I was in a place. I had surrendered completely to God about the outcome. I was just going out with women that work for me, and I just decided I went in with an intent just to be like very just really focused on them, and I just surrendered, the outcomes, like, not to feel nervous of going in this public place. It was a lot of people and stuff. So I just like, my intention is just to be with them. And then I felt like this sense, like, what do you need? And then I shared what I needed, whatever. It's kind of like, love or whatever. So then I went in to this place and I felt so good. I don't know what it was. I felt so confident, and I knew it was my connection with God. You could just tell. It was just so obviously that. But then I'm in just 2 seconds, I met a stranger, and I never spoke to them again ever. But I felt like I knew them forever. I felt like there was like this weird, odd experience. I've never had anything like it. It's, it wasn't like meeting a man and being attracted. It wasn't like that at all. It was like a complete knowing, complete connection, complete understanding. Just, it was very odd. And it was literally probably lasted under a minute. And that was it. But I knew it was a real, like some sort of a spiritual experience. And I'm curious to know, like when you meet someone who you just feel like you already know, that, I mean, I think I know what you're going to say, but I just wonder what that is. And I literally felt this, like, it was like not even possible. We were going to have it was the most natural thing just to walk up to the stranger. It didn't feel like a stranger. It wasn't like I was trying to pick up a guy. I don't want you to, I'm not trying to say that. It was like, whoosh, like, enter like a magnetic weird thing, and that was it, but it was definitely there. So I'm just curious how you would.
So you, in that time, you were already practicing the Joe Dispenza meditation?
Oh, this was just like 2 months
Recently.
ago. This was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
recently.
So because when someone start activating the pineal gland and then opening the third eye is also actually opening up the multidimensional existence, which means you start to feel connected more to the past life soulmates, or I mean, soulmates means even friends, family members, so on and so forth. So then you recognize them much stronger. So actually you are more open to recognize and feel this kind of things and sense this kind of things now after practicing these meditations. And that's what happened to you. You actually sense that connection. So most likely this person was in your past life, had some roles in your life in the past lives, and that just you felt.
Yeah, just like it was the most natural thing on the, you just, and it was not like normal meeting people. Like it was, what would be the reason for that to happen? It's just to show you your connection, or I guess there's a million reasons.
No, if it's nothing happened with that, so if you later didn't talk to that person, did not change phone numbers, and you did not develop it deeper, nothing happened, then it was just like an awareness, it was just like when you smell the coffee and you say, oh, someone is cooking coffee, so, or making coffee because you can smell it. So it was the same thing. You just use your sixth sense and then you experience the sixth sense. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was curious about it because it was very odd. I never had that kind of an occurrence. I guess with I mean, I see people, but just like a human who is just, that's a stranger. It just felt very odd to know a stranger,
Yeah. I believe you're going to have more and more those kind of experiences as you dive deeper in these kind of practices. And
yeah. Okay. Well, is there anything else you would like to share with the group?
Oh, well, I actually have a book. I think everybody would love to read that book. It's available on every platform. It's called On the Healer's Journey. It's a coaching book for seekers. So if you would like to know more about your multidimensional existence, also if you feel like you have some extra energy, or you are maybe want to be a light worker, or you're just interested in spirituality or some self-development, or you are maybe in your awakening journey and you feel odd in your environment or with your family because you start to get interested in meditations, why they are not. So all of these people who seeking some truths, I wrote this book, and this book is very short, so you don't need to spend too much time to reading. Don't worry, like it's not gonna stand too long on your bookshelves. So it has also mandalas to color, so it's like a coloring book as well. And so it's called On the Healer's Journey.
On the Healer's Journey. Well, that is wonderful. I want to thank you so much for being here. It's just I'm honored to meet you, know you, and share your wisdom with the listeners. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Alison. It was really a pleasure talking to you.
It's a wrap. Guys, thank you so much for listening to the show. I just want to say to you that we are all together a part of the Mission Awake, a mission that's going to stop the mediocrity that's plaguing all of us. So if you got something here today, I ask that you would be a part of this mission and you'd share it with whoever you can. Take a screenshot of the show and share it on your Instagram. If you are looking for me, you can find me on social media platform Instagram, Alison Answers, or Lager Counseling Services. And give us a review and subscribe if you could to YouTube, Alison Answers. That's where you're going to get a lot of content. I drop stuff every day, goofy stuff, all different kinds of stuff. 5-minute videos that just get you moving in your day. Have a great week. See you next time.